All right, now let's talk about a trend in the NFL. Actually, something that Blackstradamus predicted, and now I'm a little upset that it's coming to fruition because I think it's actually changing the entertainment aesthetic value of the product that is the NFL. So the NFL now is experiencing this shift defensively, where teams are playing a lot more two high safeties, where they're playing deeper, softer zones, and makes sense when somebody's playing a deeper, softer zone. It's hard to complete deep passes. And the NFL now, if you look at it in week one, only 9.2% of passes were deep balls, 20 yards or more down the field. That is, and that number was at 10.4% in 2022. Air yards per attempt, 7.1. It was at 7.3 in 2022, 8.3 in 2021. Drastic drop. If you look at passes that produced, you look at basically passing yards produced, it was the fewest yards passing produced by passes and passing touchdowns in week one since 2006. And if you go look at it, even in the Super Bowl, I talked about this, that Patrick Mahomes didn't throw the football downfield in the Super Bowl. He only had 4 passes, 15 yards or more down the field in the Super Bowl, and he was 3 or 4 on those passes. And they basically used the short, quick game, and that became really the focus of their passing game, the identity of it. In 2022, the NFL saw the fewest number of deep balls attempted, 15 yards or more down the field, since 2006. 3,416. The completion percentage actually was pretty damn good. 45% completion percentage, second highest since 2006. And I'll get into why that is the case too. But look at Patrick Mahomes. He's the prime example of this shift, all right, in the really kind of shifting the philosophy offensively about the deep ball and even defensively about the deep ball. So Kansas City had more 20-plus yard plays than any other team. They had 83, a lot of explosive plays. They led the NFL in 20-plus yard plays. They had one uno touchdown that traveled 20-plus yards in the air for a touchdown last season. Think about that. Just one. They had one deep touchdown last season. That was it. He led the NFL with 41 touchdown passes, and 40 of them were passes that were basically short or intermediate throws. Average length of Patrick Mahomes' touchdown passes, listen to these numbers. 2019, 17.3. 2020, 13 yards. 2021, 8.5 yards. 2022, average length of Mahomes' touchdown pass, 4.5 air yards.
Oh, everything short.
Everything short. But that was the lowest in the NFL, by the way. Aaron Rodgers was 12.9. Tua was 14.1. Josh Allen, 16.4. Jalen Hurts was 18.5. You get it. All right. Dak was at 9.4. Essentially, we know chicks dig the long ball, but offenses, not so much anymore.
What would Sark do in this league?
Right? But no, I'll get to that. There is a link. Football theory. It ends up linking it all. So basically, if you look at deep, the deep passes. He threw deep on a career low 8.2% of his passes in 2022. And remember, when he first got into the league, his first 4 years into the league, he threw the second most deep touchdown passes in the NFL. Right? Nobody was chunking deep more than Patrick
Norm
Mahomes.
Van Brocklin.
Exactly. So what happened? All right, I'll say, and basically it happened in the Big 12, so I witnessed it. That's why I was able to predict it. I said it like 3-4 years ago. I said, oh no, it's going to happen in the NFL too. It's going to happen. So basically in the Big 12, you guys remember when the Big 12 became an air raid league. We all know this, right? The late, great Mike Leach brings the air raid into the Big 12. Oklahoma wins the national title running the air raid, and then it proliferates through the rest of the league. The league becomes at one point kind of a 70 to 80% air raid league. Everybody was throwing the football, and they were using these pace and space offenses. They were throwing the football vertically downfield. And then the Big 12 was, the Big 12 defenses were taken aback, and they had to make an adjustment, and they had to make a choice. It was like, listen, we're getting killed, all right, with these air raid offenses, pace and space spread offenses. What we're going to do is we're going to back our safeties up. We're going to go 2 high safeties majority of the time. Hell, even Iowa State started going 3 high safeties, right? And we're going to give them the running game. We're going to give them the running game. We're going to give them the short, the underneath stuff, and then we're going to rally to the football. We'll find ways to keep ourselves in game situationally, but we can't be giving up haymakers of deep explosive plays down the field, and then we're out of the game really quickly, especially if you don't have a potent offense. So the defense in the Big 12 started adapting their evolutionary adaptation, all right, to these air raid spread offenses was to back their safeties up and go 2 deep safeties. Well, in the Big 12, the deep ball became tougher and tougher to execute. So what happened to the Big 12 recently? We're looking at it right now. The Big 12 became, my man Jeff Howe throws out the term, I love it, a hybrid spread league. Instead of all these air raid offenses, it became more of a hybrid spread league where you have offenses that are built to run the football. They spread you out to run. I always say the Big 12 now, it's a running league cross-dressing as a passing league. It's not really a passing league anymore. It's more of a running league than it is a passing league. And now you may be starting to see that shift again, but teams were giving you light boxes because they were backing their safeties up 2 high, 3 high looks. If they're going to give you light box, by the way, that's what the 3 high does. It distorts your pre-snap read into thinking you have the numbers advantage in the box when maybe you don't. So if they're going to give you the numbers advantage, take it. Run the football. And that's when you got the ascent of, Baylor with the Big 12. Remember how Oklahoma State competed for the Big 12 that year when they played in the Big 12 title? They were running the football a lot, hybrid spread schemes. And now I think you're starting to see a shift back because with the hybrid spread schemes, them running the football, teams now have to put an extra guy in the box. Well, they're going to run the football so much, I got to put an extra guy in the box so that I can stop the run. And it gives you single high safety looks. And then that means you have favorable matchups now in the passing game because you don't have 2 or 3 deep safeties. You only have 1. So it's a evolutionary kind of thing. It goes back and forth. And the ecosystem of the Big 12 is very similar to what was happening in the NFL. Remember at one time they kept saying the NFL looks like a Big 12 game. Oh man, there's a lot of scoring going on. It looks like a Big 12 game. You had a lot of air raid quarterbacks trickling up to the NFL. Patrick Mahomes himself is an air raid quarterback. So you had a lot of those schemes trickling up to the NFL, and the NFL had the same response after teams like and big arm quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes took over the NFL, throwing it deep downfield. Jared Goff and that Sean McVay offense, they decided, hell no, we're backing our safeties up. I'm not going to get beat deep all the time. Back our safeties up, and now the NFL's becoming what? A running league. Last season, the NFL averaged 4.5 yards per carry in 2022. That was the lowest. That was the most since 1960. So teams are running the football more, and they're running it successfully. Teams are throwing the football deep less. We just talked about that. Look at yards per completion, 11 yards per completion, lowest since 1933. Yards per carry, I just pointed out, that's the highest in NFL history, by the way, so far. And you look at scoring average, points per game per team, that's the lowest in 13 years because they don't throw the football like they used to. And that's why the running game now is starting to have more of an emphasis. You would say, oh, well, shouldn't that make running backs more important? No, the running game is important, not running backs. It's like we say education is important, but we don't want to pay teachers. That's the same thing, right? So you look at inside zone and outside zone becoming really popular. You look at in 2022, inside zone and outside zone, the success rates for inside zone and outside zone stayed relatively the same, about 30%, about 24 to 27%. But look at power and counter. Those are your smash mouth concepts in football. Those actually, you got yards per rush increase from 4.2 to 5.3. Success rate also went up from 28 to 32 because those smash mouth concepts work better when you have numbers advantage in the box. The zone concepts where you're trying to stress a defense horizontally and get sideline to sideline, the numbers advantage doesn't help you as much because what you're trying to do there is find the open alley. Right? The smash mouth concepts, you just need to outnumber your opponent. And that's what the power and the counter is all about. So you can see it. That's the evolutionary adaptation happening. But the NFL is going through the same process that the Big 12 went through.
Yep, we saw it here, and now we're seeing it there. And, as you said, they don't value the running back, but they still need to run the football to loosen it up. And interesting stuff right there from Rod Babers, Rod's Rant, the football theorist, explaining why you're seeing what you're seeing on Sundays and Saturdays throughout college football.